Hello everyone, and welcome to the Storyline Collectives. Today, we delve into the chilling and tragic case of Crystal Rogers, a story that has haunted the small town of Bardstown, Kentucky for nearly a decade. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more captivating true crime and mystery stories. Crystal Rogers was a 35-year-old mother of 5 who lived in Bardstown, Kentucky, a picturesque town known for its bourbon heritage. But beneath the charm of this small community lies a mystery that has gripped the nation: the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. Her story is one of love, betrayal, and unanswered questions. Crystal was last seen on the night of July 3, 2015. She was reportedly with her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, at the time. Brooks, who would later become the primary suspect, told authorities that Crystal had stayed up late playing games on her phone. The next morning, he claimed she was gone. Her family immediately grew suspicious when they couldn't reach her. On July 5, 2015, Crystal's car was found abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway. Inside the car were her purse, cell phone, and keys, items she would never have left behind voluntarily. The discovery marked the beginning of a complex investigation that would span years. Brooks Houck, the boyfriend and suspect. From the outset, Brooks Houck, Crystal's boyfriend, was under scrutiny. Despite his claims of innocence, his behavior raised eyebrows. He was later named the primary suspect by law enforcement but denied any involvement in Crystal's disappearance. Adding to the intrigue, Nick Houck, Brooks's brother and a Bardstown police officer at the time, allegedly interfered in the investigation. He was accused of warning Brooks not to speak with police, leading to his dismissal from the police force. The search for Crystal. Over the years, numerous searches were conducted in and around Bardstown, including at properties owned by Brooks Houck. Despite extensive efforts, Crystal's body was never found, leaving her family without closure. The case took a toll on Crystal's family, particularly her mother, Sherry Ballard, who has been a relentless advocate for justice. Sherry believes Brooks is responsible for her daughter's disappearance and has worked tirelessly to keep Crystal's story in the public eye. Shocking developments. In 2023, significant progress was made in the case. Brooks Houck was arrested and charged with murder and tampering with evidence. The arrest came after years of investigation and mounting evidence against him, but he wasn't the only one implicated. Stephen Lawson and his son Joseph Lawson were also arrested. They were charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. The Lawsons are alleged to have played roles in planning and covering up Crystal's murder. Their arrests marked a turning point in the case, bringing hope to Crystal's family that justice might finally be served. What we know today, as of now, the trial for Brooks Houck and the Lawsons is set to begin in February 2024. The prosecution is expected to present evidence linking them to Crystal's disappearance and presumed murder. The trial will be closely watched, not just by the Bardstown community, but by people across the country who have followed this case. While we still don't have all the answers, one thing is clear: Crystal Rogers' story has left an indelible mark on those who knew her and those who've come to know her through this ongoing investigation. If you found this story compelling, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to join the Storyline Collectives. Let us know your thoughts on this case in the comments below. What do you think happened to Crystal Rogers? We'd love to hear your theories. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. The Haunting Mystery of Elisa Lam. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Storyline Collectives. If you love unraveling chilling mysteries and true crime stories, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel to join us on this journey into the unknown. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Canadian student with a bright future ahead of her. Born to immigrant parents in Vancouver, British Columbia, Elisa was known as a kind, intelligent, and curious young woman. Like many her age, she loved exploring new places and sharing her experiences on social media. However, her life took a tragic and mysterious turn in January 2013, when she embarked on a solo trip to California, a trip that would end in her untimely death and leave behind one of the most perplexing cases of our time. A journey of self-discovery. Elisa began her travels with enthusiasm, documenting her experiences on her Tumblr blog. She visited San Diego before arriving in Los Angeles, where she checked into the infamous Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. Located in downtown LA, the Cecil Hotel was a budget-friendly choice but had a dark history of crime, suicides, and eerie occurrences. For Elisa, it was likely just a convenient place to stay as she explored the city. At first, everything seemed normal. Elisa visited popular tourist destinations and shared her thoughts online. However, her behavior reportedly changed as her stay at the Cecil Hotel progressed. Staff and guests described her as acting oddly, and on January 31st, she was last seen alive. The elevator footage. The case gained worldwide attention after the release of the hotel's elevator surveillance footage. In the video, Elisa is seen behaving strangely. She appears to be hiding from someone or something, pressing multiple buttons, peering out of the elevator, and gesturing in ways that seem erratic and unexplainable. The footage went viral, sparking countless theories about what might have happened to her. Elisa never returned to her room. When her parents didn't hear from her, they reported her missing. Police searched the hotel but found no sign of her. Flyers were distributed, and the case quickly garnered media attention, with the public and investigators alike trying to piece together the puzzle of her disappearance. A grim discovery on February 19, 2013, nearly 3 weeks after Elisa was last seen, hotel guests began complaining about low water pressure, strange tastes, and discoloration in the tap water. Maintenance workers were sent to check the rooftop water tanks, where they made a horrifying discovery. Elisa's body was found floating in one of the tanks. The discovery raised more questions than answers. How had Elisa accessed the roof, which was locked and alarmed? How had she climbed into the water tank, which had a heavy lid? And why had she ended up there at all? The investigation, an autopsy determined that Elisa's cause of death was drowning, and there were no signs of trauma or foul play. Toxicology reports revealed traces of her prescription medications for bipolar disorder, but no illegal drugs or alcohol. Her death was ultimately ruled an accidental drowning, likely influenced by her mental health struggles. Elisa had a history of bipolar disorder and depression, which she had been open about on her blog. Some speculate that a manic episode could have contributed to her erratic behavior and eventual death. However, many find it difficult to reconcile this explanation with the bizarre circumstances and the hotel's notorious history. The Cecil Hotel's dark past. The Cecil Hotel has long been associated with mystery and tragedy. Since its opening in 1927, it has been the site of numerous suicides, murders, and strange occurrences. It even housed serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger. The hotel's sinister reputation only added fuel to the theories surrounding Elisa's death. Elisa's case has inspired endless speculation. Some believe her death was the result of foul play, citing the difficulty of accessing the rooftop and water tank. Others suggest paranormal activity, given the hotel's eerie history. However, the most widely accepted theory remains that her mental health struggles played a significant role. The elevator footage continues to baffle viewers, with interpretations ranging from Elisa's potential psychosis to her trying to evade an actual threat. Despite the ruling of accidental drowning, the mystery lingers, leaving many questions unanswered. Legacy and reflection. Elisa Lam's story is more than just a mystery. It's a tragic reminder of the challenges faced by those struggling with mental health issues. Her case has sparked discussions about mental health awareness, the importance of safety for solo travelers, and the impact of internet sleuthing on real-life investigations. Netflix released a documentary, Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, in 2021, which reignited interest in the case and introduced it to a new audience. While the documentary explored various angles, it ultimately left viewers with the same lingering questions that have surrounded Elisa's story for years. If you found this story as haunting and compelling as we did, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the Storyline Collectives. What do you think happened to Elisa Lam? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay curious and stay safe. Our story takes place in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, in the late 1800s, a time when life was simple, yet justice was often hard to come by. The tale is both chilling and unique because it's the only known case in the United States where a ghost testimony allegedly helped solve a murder. It begins in January 1897, when a young woman named Elva Zona Hester was found dead in her home. She had recently married a man named Erasmus Edward Shue, a blacksmith who was new to the town. Edward was the one who discovered Zona's body, claiming she had fallen ill the day before. Her death was officially ruled as everlasting faint, a vague term used when the cause was unknown. At her funeral, Edward's behavior raised eyebrows. He was overly emotional, refusing to let anyone get near Zona's body. He even placed a scarf around her neck, insisting it was her favorite, and demanded the casket be closed quickly. People whispered about how odd it all seemed, but there was no proof of foul play, at least not yet. Zona's mother, Mary Jane Heaster, was devastated by her daughter's sudden death. But grief soon turned into suspicion. Mary Jane believed Edward had something to do with it. Her suspicions deepened after she prayed for answers and claimed that Zona's ghost appeared to her in 4 consecutive dreams. In these dreams, Zona's ghost told her mother that Edward had been abusive, controlling, and short-tempered. She revealed that on the day she died, Edward had flown into a rage and strangled her after an argument. To prove it, the ghost showed Mary Jane how her neck had been broken. Mary Jane was so convinced by these visions that she went to the local prosecutor, John Preston, and begged him to reopen the case. While skeptical at first, Preston decided to investigate further. Zona's body was exhumed for an autopsy, and to everyone's shock, The findings matched Mary Jane's account. Zona's neck was indeed broken, with bruises indicating she had been strangled. Edward was arrested and put on trial for murder. The prosecution built a strong case against him, citing his violent history and strange behavior at the funeral. While Mary Jane was careful not to mention the ghost during her testimony, the defense tried to discredit her by bringing it up, hoping to make her seem unreliable. However, the jury wasn't swayed by this tactic. After only an hour of deliberation, Edward was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Edward died a few years later, and the story of Zona's ghost became part of local folklore. To this day, many believe that her spirit sought justice from beyond the grave. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's a fascinating tale of mystery, perseverance, and a mother's love that transcended the veil between life and death. Thank you for joining us for another tale from the Storytime Collectives. If you've enjoyed this story, give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss another spine-chilling story. On a quiet evening in Beverly Hills, August 20th, 1989, the lives of Jose and Kitty Menendez were tragically cut short in their luxurious mansion. The shocking case that unfolded would grip the nation, revealing a web of family secrets, wealth, and unimaginable betrayal. This is the story of the Menendez brothers. Jose Menendez, a wealthy entertainment executive, was known for his relentless ambition. He had worked his way up from humble beginnings in Cuba, eventually becoming a prominent figure in Hollywood. His wife, Kitty, was a former beauty queen turned homemaker, devoted to raising their two sons, Lyle and Eric. From the outside, the Menendez family appeared to embody the American dream, but behind closed doors, tension simmered. Jose was reportedly a domineering father, and the family dynamic was far from perfect. The brothers, Lyle and Eric, grew up in a world of privilege, attending elite schools and living a lifestyle most could only dream of. On that fateful August night, police responded to a 911 call from the Menendez mansion. Lyle's panicked voice on the call revealed the shocking news. His parents had been shot. The scene was gruesome. Jose and Kitty were found in the family's living room with multiple gunshot wounds. It initially appeared to be a botched robbery. But investigators quickly noted inconsistencies in the brothers' accounts and the crime scene. Despite their outward grief, Lyle and Eric's behavior raised suspicions. Within days of their parents' deaths, the brothers began spending extravagantly, purchasing luxury items, sports cars, and even opening a restaurant. Months later, the pressure mounted when Eric confessed to a therapist that he and Lyle were responsible for their parents' deaths. This confession led to their arrest in March 1990. As the trial began, the nation was captivated, not just by the brutal nature of the crime, but by the brothers' defense strategy. Their defense revealed shocking allegations. The brothers claimed they had endured years of physical and psychological abuse at the hands of their father, Jose. They argued that their actions were driven by fear and desperation, believing their parents were planning to kill them to cover up the abuse. The Menendez brothers' trials were some of the first to be broadcast on national television, drawing widespread attention. Public opinion was divided. Were they victims of horrific abuse or manipulative killers driven by greed? The first trials, held separately for each brother, ended in mistrials as jurors struggled to reach a unanimous verdict. However, a second trial in 1996 led to both brothers being convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. They were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Even decades later, the Menendez case remains a subject of intense debate. Some see it as a chilling example of greed and entitlement, while others argue that the brothers were victims of unimaginable trauma. The case has inspired books, documentaries, and TV dramas, keeping the story alive in popular culture. In recent years, a resurgence of interest in the case, fueled by TikTok and social media, has led some to reconsider the brothers' claims of abuse. In 2023, new evidence surfaced that sparked renewed calls for a review of their convictions. The Menendez brothers' case is a haunting reminder of the complexities of family dynamics and the devastating consequences of unchecked pain. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Was justice served, or is there more to the story? On Christmas Eve, 1945, in the small town of Fayetteville, West Virginia, a tragic and mysterious event unfolded that would haunt one family for decades. The Sauter family was well known in their community. George and Jenny Sauter were Italian immigrants who had built a life for themselves and their 10 children. The family lived in a 2-story wood frame house on the outskirts of town. That Christmas Eve, the Sauters were celebrating together. Presents were exchanged, laughter filled the home, and the children were excited for the magic of Christmas morning. Around 10 p.m., Jenny told her younger children it was time for bed. 5 of them stayed up later than usual. Maurice, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 9, Jenny, 8, and Betty, 5. George, Jenny, and their younger children went to bed upstairs, while their eldest son John, 23, and George Jr., 16, had already retired for the night after a long day working with their father. At around 1 a.m., Jenny was awakened by a strange noise, a thud followed by a rolling sound on the roof. She dismissed it and tried to go back to sleep, but within minutes she smelled smoke. Rushing out of bed, she found that George's office, located on the ground floor, was engulfed in flames. She screamed for her husband and children. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children managed to escape, but the 5 children who had stayed up late were nowhere to be found. The family frantically searched for a way to rescue them. George broke a window, slicing his arm in the process, and tried to climb back inside, but the flames were too intense. The family's attempts to get help were thwarted at every turn. The phone line was mysteriously dead, so one of the children ran to a neighbor's house to call the fire department. The neighbor's call went unanswered for hours. Meanwhile, George's ladder, which was always propped against the house, was missing. He tried to use his trucks to climb to the upper windows, but neither vehicle would start, despite being in good working order the day before. By the time the fire department arrived, nearly 8 hours later, the Sodder home had been reduced to ashes. The surviving family members were devastated, but their grief soon turned to confusion. Investigators initially claimed that the 5 missing children had perished in the fire, their bodies completely consumed by the flames. However, this explanation didn't sit right with George and Jenny. First, no remains were found in the ashes, even though bones and teeth are typically left behind in house fires. Second, an employee of the local crematorium told Jenny that even after burning a body for 2 hours at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, bones would remain. The Sodder house fire had lasted only 45 minutes. The family began to suspect foul play. They recalled strange incidents leading up to the fire. A man had visited the house a few months earlier, trying to sell life insurance. When George declined, the man allegedly threatened him, saying his house would go up in smoke, and his children would pay for his criticisms of Mussolini. Another visitor had warned George about faulty wiring, but an inspection of the house had found no issues. On the night of the fire, Jenny also remembered hearing footsteps on the roof and a loud noise, possibly an incendiary device. In the weeks and months following the fire, the Sodders received cryptic tips and sightings. A woman claimed she saw the children peering out of a passing car while the fire raged. Another woman, working at a tourist stop, said she served breakfast to 5 children who matched their descriptions, accompanied by 2 strange men. Years later, George and Jenny found a